Welcome back to another episode of The Tim Macy Show. And today I have my friend Tami Price on.
Hey.
Tami, thanks for taking the time out of your day. It's actually a little late night call. I don't know when we're going to post this, but it's like dinner time. We're wrapping
Mhm.
up our day, and Tami was nice enough to hop on the pod. So thanks for being on.
Excited to be here.
We've known each I guess we've known each other for a little while, and, I've loved watching you and how you've built your business, but in all honesty, I don't have a lot of insight on how you built your business, how it got started, like, what those first couple deals looked like. I met you when you were already in the business, had already established a business and watched what you've done leveraging Google, which, Google Business is it they're not it's not Google My Business anymore, right? It's Google
No,
Business
Google
Pages?
Business Profiles.
Google Business Profile, see?
Yes.
That's
I
that's
mean,
why that's why
see?
Tammy's the best, she knows the terms. So I wanna get to that because I think the things that you've been talking about, the things that you've been doing
Mhm.
are things that just about anybody can do. And I think we talk about a lot of things and people are like, "Oh, that sounds cool, but that's not for me." Like, "Oh, that's interesting what they're doing, but I don't know if I could do that." I think so many agents should implement what you're doing on Google, so I
Right.
definitely want to get there.
Okay.
But before we get there, I just kinda wanna know, like, not the whole thing, but just a quick insight on kinda how you got into real estate to kinda get to where you're at today.
Okay. Well, I happened into real estate. I relocated back to San Antonio in 2006, 2007, and was going to go back to finish my licensing hours in counseling to become a licensed counselor. And a sales counselor that I was really good friends with at DR Horton, when I told him I was going to get my license, I meant counseling. He thought real estate and said, "You'd be amazing." And so 2 weeks later, I was in classes.
So I love that story that you happened into it because I think that's what a lot of us have had happen. I think there's very few of us in the
Mhm.
industry that were kids saying, "One day I'm gonna grow up and be a real estate agent," right? I mean,
Right.
I think all of us or most of us, life kind of happened and we
Mhm.
fell into this thing. So I love that part of your story.
Yeah.
And then tell me what did the first what did getting your business off the ground? What did getting traction for Tami look like?
So, former military. And at the time that I came into the market, we were seeing the market doing this number. It was going
What
down
year was this?
2007.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So I did all the things that everybody told me not to do. I branded myself. I did everyone's open houses. I walked in neighborhoods. I didn't door knock. I still won't door knock. I have issues. But I did a lot of open houses and walking neighborhood. And crazy enough, not the kind of numbers rookies of the year put up now, but back in '07, I was the rookie of the year. So
Can can you do you remember what the numbers were?
I honestly don't, but
Uh,
I don't even think it was like 2 million. So, now,
but
but back then, yeah,
it was
that was,
2007. It
yeah,
was a very tough time to start your business. Yeah,
yeah.
I get it.
So, yeah. But, and when I first got into real estate, I was like, oh, I need something to do. I want slay money, kind of what we hear, we laugh about now. I just want to yeah, that was me. I was raising two kids and I wanted to have the extra income to have them have a lifestyle that they were consistent with what I could provide when I was working a full-time job. Rookie of the year, and I like to tease Mark Stillings because I was ahead of him on that list there of production.
We love Mark. Mark's the man. So you get in what would you say was the main driver of your business for, let's say, that first kind of or second chapter of your career?
I would say the main driver was I'm your typical type A, high D overachiever. And I have that strict old school military dad. So not wanting to disappoint him or myself, but also to set a good example for my kids at the time. We were taught from a very young age when you're a military family that you put your uniform on, put your boots on, and get your butt to work.
Yeah, I love that. I think we all have different motivations for getting in and different and you need to have some motivation that's driving you, right? Because this is not an
100%.
easy business. So
No.
when you look at those first couple years, like where was your business coming from? Like what were you doing to get the business?
My business at that time really came from like old school marketing.
Yeah.
My kids and I would walk a neighborhood, one portion of it once a month, and then the other portion. And I did old school stuff, door hanger bags. I would print off CMA coupons because we didn't have the tools and technology they have today.
Yeah.
And so we would do about 400 homes on one weekend and then do the next side of the neighborhood the second weekend. So my going into my second year, that particular community alone, I want to say 8 listings and several move ups. And then, of course, I did my own neighborhood, held
Yeah.
ice cream socials, all that stuff, all your traditional old school marketing. Mhm.
I love that. We talk about being old school marketing and we talk about all these different other things they can do. But a lot of those principles and a lot of that stuff
Yeah.
still works. It still works. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, now we have all these new strategies. But a lot of ways, all that stuff that you did is probably what a lot of newer agents or agents that are looking to grow their business should be doing right
Should
now, anyways.
should be doing back to basics, right? And when I say I didn't door knock, I if there was someone standing outside, I would not go to the door.
Yeah.
Period. I would skip that house. I'd send my kids back because I made
You
it
didn't want to talk to people.
I did not want to talk to people.
Which is so funny. And like I joke and we laugh, but I will say, you know, obviously you think like, hey, gotta talk to everybody, gotta talk to everybody. But some of the best agents I know are kind of introverts. Like they don't
I
want to go talk to those people. And I
mm-mm.
think that's an interesting thing. We're totally sidebarring different direction. But I think that, all these agent awards for most sales doesn't necessarily mean the best agent. There's a difference between the
Right.
agent that does the most business and who's the
Mhm.
best agent. And some of the best agents I've seen are introverts. And I think some of that comes from the fact that, and again, somebody tell me if I'm wrong because I am not an introvert. But if you are an introvert, like
I
you
am.
care a lot about like fewer but better connections, where I want to be friends with a million people. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so I feel like introverts naturally value connections with fewer people, and that means they build more meaningful connections with their
Mhm.
clients. But but obviously when you're going to build the business, you need to get more sales, you need to talk to everybody. So, like, do you have any thoughts on that? Like how an
Well, I
introvert
mean,
got to build a business?
everyone told me you have to talk to X amount of people a day, and I was like, nope. It just was never how I operated. It's still not how I operate. Why I love Google because my little introverted self, I can hide behind a computer screen, do all my postings, and it's just like walking neighborhoods. One of my best clients today is someone whose home I purposely skipped because every time we worked the neighborhood, her husband was doing yard work. But one time I was like, okay, Nick, you're going to have to go drop this off at that house because we've
And
skipped it the last couple of times we were out here.
Nick's your son.
Nick's my son. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
And so
made
you
both
send
of
your
them.
son off. Go drop the stuff with the guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're fearless up into a certain age,
Yeah.
So they'll
Yeah.
talk to anybody and yeah. So, but I think that there are a lot of introverts who are getting into the business and, I've never made a single cold call ever.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never physically knocked on the door without an invitation. It's just not my style. And like you said, I mean, you're
Yeah.
that big people person and you have all these connections and you'll see it at events. I'm usually the one hanging around in the background just talking to the people I know.
I don't stop yapping at those things. All right. So at what point, like, tell me the journey to kind of stumbling upon this idea of Google, and also we should bring some clarification because people are like, yeah, Tim, like I know what Google is. I use Google. I have a page set up on
Mhm.
Google, and there's a difference between what you're doing and that. And so, tell me,
Right.
like, how did you come across this?
Okay, so everybody was pushing me to do video and I still don't want to do video.
Myself
And
included. When she says everybody, she means me.
I didn't want to call you out like that. But yeah, so, you know, certain people were pushing me to do video. I I do some now, but 2 years ago, I didn't want to get on camera. Period. End of story. And went to a conference and was there in the audience, and someone was talking about Google My Business at the time, and I thought, well, there's something that I can learn. And so it was the one thing I took away from that conference that I decided I'm going to learn. I'm just going to learn the ins and outs of it, right? And plus, I didn't have to do video if I didn't want to.
Yeah,
So before that, I had a Google My Business profile and did nothing with it. Honestly, I didn't know you could do anything with it. So
yeah,
started out with just adding photos because at the time the geotagging was the one thing that I understood no longer effective. But I started with just geotagging photos. And let's say that was October of 22. December 21, 21. December of 21, someone pulled me up on Google Maps, walked straight to my office at the end of the day, and I did an impromptu buyer's consultation. And that was my first sale from my efforts. And I was like, wait, you mean I've been doing this for a month and a half? Somebody's already walking to the office and I'm selling a home. I'm going to learn more about this thing, right?
yeah.
So then I learned how to do updates and see the question and answer section, add products, all this stuff. And it's been a very interesting and amazing journey.
What I love about that story is knowing your office. Like, your office is not super easy to find. Like, we don't have these storefront offices where people pull up. Like, that person had to pull up to the office building, had to go in, had to find your name on the thing, had to go
Well,
up the.
remember, this was two
Yeah.
years ago. So I was in the Stone Oak area at the time.
Oh, okay. Was it
Yeah.
was it more of a storefront?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But either way, just the
Mhm.
fact that
Yeah.
somebody just showed up to your
Just
office
showed up.
is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Because nobody
hmm
does that, right?
No,
We're
they just
like,
walked in.
yeah, that cracks me up. Okay. So your mentality around it is, I think, the mentality that a lot of agents have. They just assume they have to have a profile set up and that
hmm
they have to have reviews. And that's about it.
That's
That's what I think most people think. And so if you have like a way to think about it, how do you frame Google differently that's getting you to pop up and getting more people to call you and close business?
So I think people in general need to change their idea about their Google business profile. I liken it to a social media post, social media account, right? You've got to get in there. You've got to be active. You've got to post to it, add to it, edit, and manage it on a daily basis. So for me, understanding that when people are searching, a lot of them are starting their searches on Google. Matter of fact, there's like 8.5 billion searches that happen a day on Google. So why not be where the people are? Sound like Little Mermaid there. So I wanted to be where all the people
The
were.
people are.
And once I learned, I'm going to start singing now.
I know.
I want to be where the people are. Okay, there we go. Anyway, so, I wanted to be where they were. And once I learned about how to incorporate keywords and start building more quality content that I could use it like a social media newsfeed, but not have to worry about someone unfollowing or unfriending me because I post 8 to 10 times a day. I was like, yay, this is totally my jam because I can do this without sweating because I'm on camera. Yeah.
Let's get really granular, really
Okay.
basic. I think one of the things that you're talking about is the fact that Google is like a social media platform, which is a concept that a lot of
hmm
people don't understand. The fact that you can post pictures on there, you can
hmm
post updates on there. On a basic level, I think that's a good way to think about it. And the
hmm
thing that I love about it, Tammy, the reason why I get so excited about what you're doing is I love going to where the opportunity is.
Yep.
So when TikTok came out, it's like when TikTok first came out, massive opportunity because there were so many people consuming it
Right.
and there were so few people producing content for it. And whenever you have that imbalance, you have great opportunity. And
Yep.
what I love about Google is that, look, I've got a ton of agents in San Antonio putting out lots of content on YouTube. Instagram, agents are posting on there all the time. Facebook, agents are posting there all the time. Heck, like my grandma is on Facebook. So when I post on Facebook, I am competing with my audience, like with my grandma, like everybody's on there.
Right.
And the thing that I love about Google is there's so few people actually
Yeah.
posting on there,
Yeah.
and there's so many people searching on there. And so
Hmm.
you have this great ratio of people searching and a few people actually posting and actually doing stuff. So that's where I
Right.
think this arbitrage opportunity around Google comes in.
Yep.
And that's why I get so excited about the opportunity. But
And that's
let's
why
get
I was so excited about it because, I mean, last year alone, I closed 22 transactions organically from Google, right? Woo!
without spending.
Without spending a single penny.
So I love that, and this is why I get excited about it. I want to get a little more granular, a little bit more tactical. I want to start with someone who's not doing anything on
Hmm.
Google. Like, what are the first 2 or 3 things that they probably don't know about that they should be doing? And then progressively, I want to get into some fun stuff, like the
Okay.
Q&A thing you were talking
Yeah.
about, like
Yeah.
some of the other stuff you were talking about.
Hmm.
So tell me, what are like you know how it is. If I say, Tammy, start a YouTube channel, start making these videos, this is what they look like, it gets overwhelming,
Correct.
right? And so if we go into all the stuff that you could do on Google, it's probably going to be overwhelming. So what I want is like the underwhelming part of Google. Like, what are the super simple things people can do to
So
start this thing?
I really think that the first super simple thing to start is to build the profile the right way.
Okay.
And, you know, what I find is so many people want to try to cheat the guidelines on address use. Everybody wants to be a location based business. Not everyone should list as a location based business. A lot of realtors who do not have storefronts, who do not have physical offices that they go into every day and meet clients are trying to use USPS addresses, PO boxes, home addresses, virtual addresses. Google will find them. So setting it
Not,
up.
not only that, like you had happen, a
Mhm.
consumer may go try to find you. So
And then when they report you
yeah.
and Google gives you a hard suspension, you've lost all your work. So I think the key part is when you're setting it up, make sure you're setting it up the right way, location or service based, then choosing the appropriate categories for the industry that you're in. When you set up as a location based, you can also choose service areas. So making sure you take advantage of every opportunity to capitalize on the features that Google will allow you to utilize, right? Making sure operating hours are correct. No realtor is 24/7. And so that's one of my pet peeves. If you're not going to answer the phone or return a text at 3:21 in the morning, you should not have 24/7 out there, right? So just making sure that everything on your profile is true and accurate, that you're taking advantage of the ability now to actually manually input our social media channels. It used to be Google pulled that information from various sources. Now we have direct control. So inputting the social media channels there, also taking advantage of the relevant attributes they like to select from, because let's face it, people want to work with people who share similar characteristics. So if you take advantage of those attributes, I mean, hey, I try to do both the Black owned and the Latino owned, but Google seems to think I can only be one. So I take advantage of the Black owned, right? Veteran owned, woman owned. So those things that people search by will always help when you have them populated on your profile. So making sure that that profile is completed the right way and as robust as possible.
Couple of things that I want to hit on there. One, I love what you said about filling out all of the things to niche down
Hmm.
the audience a little bit, like, having a Black owned business, having a veteran owned business. I think sometimes we have this mentality of, I want to seem like I'm for everybody. Like, I don't
Everyone.
want to,
Hmm.
I don't want people to feel like I'm not for them. And the problem is all of the search engines, all of the algorithms, everything that is an engagement based internet platform is
Hmm.
looking for specific answers for specific people. And the
Correct.
more you niche down, the
Hmm.
more you get in front of more people because you make it easier for Google to figure out who you're for. So I love that you brought that up. And the other thing is, question for me is, if I don't have a like an office front, or I don't have an
Hmm.
office that I'm at all the time, is it local service area that I want to set up? What do I do there?
So you would select as a service area based business.
Hmm.
And then Google gives you the option to select up to 20 different service areas. Those can be cities, towns, townships, counties, zip code, neighborhoods. So you can really niche down that way as well. Or you can start casting the widest net possible, right? So I'm in San Antonio, but I'm going to populate Bernie, Fair Oaks, Castroville, Floresville. I won't go to New Braunfels, but I'm going to capture all these smaller suburbs or smaller cities so that I can cast a wider net.
And be more specific on who you're for, I assume.
Correct. Hmm.
I love that. Okay.
Yep.
So we do that. We set up our profile, we do the things, we get it all right. Now we have this idea of posting on Google, which is a very foreign idea for most of us. We don't think about
Nope.
posting on Google. So
Right.
where do you start? Like what is that underwhelming, easy place to get started?
And the most underwhelming, easy place to get started is to start with just doing a regular update, right? So, with the update section, which most people will call it post, they're called update. You have three different types of updates that you can provide. One is a regular update, the second one is special offers, and the third one is event. I totally geek out on the regular update because you can literally talk about anything to do with real estate, right? You can feature a brand new listing. With each update, you can provide up to 10 photos. You have a description count of about 1,500 characters with spaces. Never, ever, ever put your contact information in that description because Google provides CTAs, those calls to action. So when let's say I do a listing, I'm going to put first, I'm going to put my address in there because when we think of Google and we think of location authority, we want to have the full address in there at, numerical, street, city, state, zip code. Because as Google's screening the contents on your profile, they're looking for reasons to put you into searches, right? So I put the full address, my description, and my call to action. I will use the learn more and then drop a link to a landing page that takes them back to my website to see more of the home, right? So I use my 10 best photos with that. But when we're looking at different types of updates, they can be buyer's tips, seller's tips. It could be your just sold, your just listed, your reviews from your happy clients, right? You can post your upcoming open house as an update versus an event because here lately, Google has been not approving open houses when they're listed as events. There's so much that with that update section that you can do. And when I say I do 8 to 10 a day, I write my update in the third person because I, me, we, our isn't a keyword and not as searchable as Tami Price, San Antonio realtor. Are you looking to sell your San Antonio home, your Bernie home, right? I get super specific with keywords and medium and long tail keywords. So, because I know what Google's looking for.
It sounds like you can post just about anything there, like
Hmm.
listing pictures, listing descriptions, buyer tips, seller tips. The first question I get when we talk about video stuff is like, what should I make a video of? I have these long, drawn out conversations about your audience and all this other
Hmm.
stuff. And, we go into the weeds on what
Right.
kind of videos you should make. It sounds like the answer on Google is just about anything. Like, just put
Just
stuff on
Just
there.
if someone wants to send more people to a YouTube video, they can put their thumbnail as an image, right? Put a
Yeah.
description introducing their video and then put the link to their video in the learn more to funnel people to their YouTube channel. With Google, when in October of 21, you could upload a video that was a minute long and be okay. And now the maximum length is 30 seconds. So I tell people, if you're going to post a video on Google, post a 29-second video, because if
Mhm.
that video is 29, if it's 30.01 seconds and it doesn't upload, that 29 plus whatever, not even seconds, whatever it is it's probably seconds anyway. It will upload a lot better than something that's over the
Yeah.
that 30
So
30
I,
second
I
mark.
guess I guess my other question is, when you talk to the people that are coming in from Google, are you finding that they're reading all your posts? Are they finding that they're watching these videos that you post? Or do you think this is more just feeding the platform, the Google juice, to get you towards the top of searches?
One, it's defeating the Google juice. You're juicing that algorithm. You're giving more reasons for Google to say, "Hey, here's Tami Price, a realtor in San Antonio," because I have enough content on there that it should match almost anybody's search. But what I will tell you is they start doing kind of a deep dive on you once they decide, like, hey, they start looking at reviews, they read the update, they go back and they look at questions and answers. So I think that all of it works in concert with each other, but really more than anything, it's you're juicing that algorithm.
So you've mentioned it twice, and I'm interested, which is question and answers. Like I kind of know that that's a
Mhm.
thing, but tell me more about questions and answers and how that works on Google.
Okay, so anyone can come to your profile and ask a question and you can provide the answer. But what's better is you can go in and ask your own business a question, provide the very highly keyworded response, right? And it's like building a handy FAQ on your profile, but touching on maybe the common questions first time home buyers have, common questions military members have about VA loans, or, what questions sellers have about selling. You can go crazy. There's things that are
So
specific to contracts in different states. So not a lot of people, people coming to Texas may not know what a termination option is, right? You
yeah,
ask the question, you provide the answer, and the general public, it takes them multiple clicks to figure out that you're actually the person that asked the question you provided the answer to.
what's funny is I have a whole buyer series breaking down like the option period and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
And I've had random people stumble across those videos, like wondering what the option period is and asking me questions about it. But that is like a rabbit hole
Right.
they have to go down, where Google, when you start
Mhm.
populating those, it pops up a lot easier, a lot higher for them to see. Is that
Correct.
is that kind of how it works?
Yes.
So, are you using any type of SEO research tools to figure out what questions people are asking?
I do some, but I just love to ask Chat GPT.
So you ask ChatGPT
Like,
what the questions
I'm
are.
like, ask ChatGPT, what are the most common questions first time home buyers are asking about buying a home in San Antonio, Texas? I get really specific, right? And then I look at other forums, but me loving the Chat GPT, because then it'll say, okay, write me a question and provide me the answer.
Yeah, yeah. So, are you loving ChatGPT?
Oh man, if I could marry Chat GPT, I would.
That market cap for OpenAI is pretty high. That wouldn't be a bad deal right now. ChatGPT is
Yeah.
balling.
It just makes
Um,
it just makes the and I always take what my output and I massage it a little bit,
of
make it
course,
sound a little more like myself, because I
yeah.
am not that smart.
It's never perfect on the first iteration, but I love that answer because while I'm talking to you, I just Googled SEO research and keyword research, and I was going to try to find like a little tool and try to find the answer to my question while I was asking you.
Mhm.
In Googling something, this is a whole other sidebar
Yeah.
that connects to
Mhm.
our conversation. Like asking ChatGPT something is just a lot easier than Googling something. And I love that you did that. And I have people all the time, that people that haven't used ChatGPT before,
Mhm.
people that are like hearing about it but don't really know where to start.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm like, just pretend it's your assistant. And they're like,
Right.
yeah, how do you do that? I'm like, literally,
Jen.
what is a thing you
Mhm.
would ask your assistant to do? And
Yeah.
just type it in. Like, you would
Yeah.
ask your assistant, hey, go do some keyword research and find out what the top questions are. It's like, boom,
Right.
I just ask ChatGPT that. And so I love how easy it is to use. I think the more
Right.
people just kind of get in there and tinker with it and just
Right.
like I should have. I can't believe I didn't go there when I was looking for information on this. I'm kind of kicking myself.
I was
I love
writing
that. It's
something
great.
on Bernie Independent School District earlier, and I was like, "What are the school names in Bernie?" So I wrote in the Chat
Ask.
GPT, "What are the names of the schools in Bernie ISD?" And it spit it out right away, and then I counter checked on the website, and I was like, "All right," and it even said, "Hey, in 2024, a new elementary school at the corner of such and such will
Yeah.
will be finished." I was, yeah,
It's so much. So it's this conversation, the kind of weird place it's going to go is that I'm interested to see how search changes over the next, say, 5 years, because
yeah,
it affects exactly what we're talking about, which is you Google something and then you get all of these results. And then hopefully when people Google something about finding an agent in San Antonio, Tammy pops up. But when you think about that Google search experience, and then
hmm
you think about the AI experience is better than Google. And I'm wondering how search will change over time because Google's already doing the generative AI. So,
right,
like a lot of times, that top bar is giving you the AI answer, and then it's got some links below it.
yeah.
And so, it's definitely interesting to see how that plays out. I don't know if you've thought
Yeah.
about that at all. It's just
No, I haven't, but don't scare me now because I don't want AI to replace me.
yeah. What's funny is, I mean, it's like you said when we started this interview back in 2007,
Mhm.
which was not that long ago. Things were completely different, and we didn't have a bunch of the stuff that we have today. And
Correct.
now times have changed, and you have this great opportunity to use something like Google to get business. And it's probably going to be a lot different 5 years from now. And there's probably going to be some new thing you have to adapt to.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, always being open to adopting the next thing is definitely important. So, okay,
Absolutely.
we hit posts and updates.
Mhm.
We hit Q&A, which I love the Q&A one. I think the Q&A one's really
Yeah.
great. What other things on Google are important that people can be doing that maybe they're not thinking of?
Okay. Let's go with building out their services list, right? When you create a Google business profile based on the categories, your main category and any subcategories that you've selected, Google will give you the opportunity to select services. Take that an additional step further and write in descriptions for those services, right? Because, let's say you populate residential sales or first time home buyer. Well, describe that. Tami Price helps first time home buyers navigate the home buying process, right? You can get super keyword rich in those description. And then you can also put in there things like top San Antonio realtor, because when people search for a top San Antonio realtor, it could have one of your services as a top San Antonio realtor. You know,
Yeah.
you always find those ways. So I think that a lot of people miss the boat on services because they don't go back and provide those descriptions.
How important are reviews?
I like to think updates are the most important, but
Yeah.
reviews really stand out. And it's not just the star ratings, but it's the quality of the reviews that your clients actually write on you,
Yeah.
and if they've included any relevant keywords in the review, right? Tammy's a great agent. Okay, that's great, but hey, Tammy helped me buy my first home in San Antonio, Texas. She was knowledgeable, experienced. Those things that they write, when they write them that way, help tremendously, especially when people are looking for something specific, i.e., if they type in best realtor near me and your reviews have the words best realtor, when Google returns profiles into those search results in that rich snippet display, they're going to show where it says the part about best realtor, and those local justifications help build that momentum on your
Yeah.
profile even more. So, yeah.
You are way more of an expert on this stuff than I am, so correct me if I'm out of line here, but the way that I think about it is in 2 parts. The
Hmm.
part that we're spending most of the time talking about right now is when someone goes in to search best agent in San Antonio,
Hmm.
agent in San Antonio, top realtor in San Antonio, whatever the search terms are.
Right.
When they search, you pop up. Like you are in the game because you're popping up in the search results. And there's so
Correct.
many real estate agent profiles in all of our markets that it's a
Right.
hard game to play to
Correct.
pop up organically in
Hmm.
search. And so for me, there's two things. One, there's winning that game. There's winning the game of getting into the search. And then the second game, which I don't think is as important because it's just kind of a numbers game. If you pop up in search enough times, you're going to get called at some point. But the second part of the game is when you do pop up as one of the 5 or one of the 4 that pop
Hmm.
up, what are you doing to make sure that they click on you and that they call on you? And so for me, that means the reviews and like what other stuff do you have on there to make sure that you're or in attempting to beat the competition that also pops up in those search results.
So I also work on adding to my product section. So with Google, you have your updates, you have your reviews, you can post photos, but you can also build out a product section. And when we look at real estate, obviously houses, people think, oh, my houses, that's my product. But we have more than just houses on our products. We have our evergreen product, like our buyers and sellers guides. On mine, in my product section, I have one that says homes for sale. So I'll have my listings there, but I also have micro pages for search for homes in Bernie, Texas, which when they click on the link there, it takes them to a landing page on my website that will only search in Bernie, Helotes, Micah, Castroville, Selma, Shirts, So I built all those out as products. My website is a product. I schedule a consultation with me for either home buyer, home seller. My guides are products. And so when you look at that, if you're doing your houses for sale and you're moving them into a sold category, you're always including addresses. And when we're talking about location authority, the power and ability that your profile has to rank and get found on Google search and Google Maps, we want to have those addresses on there because they show the different areas in which we work. And if I'm selling in Bernie, if I'm selling in Castroville, if I'm selling in Selma Shirts, wherever, and I have that on my profile, it sends Google the signal that, hey, she's showing she works in these areas. We're going to go ahead and push your profile into those search results. So,
I love it. So having products that show
mhm,
that you're selling, that you have a
yeah.
business, that you're not just some agent
Mhm.
with a Google profile, but you're agent with a Google profile that has houses that they're selling. I do these podcasts, I do these calls, and I know I repeat myself a couple times. And I'm like, I don't know if I've said this on the pod or how many times I've said it on the pod, but Alex Hormozy talks about if you're a travel agent, you sell the vacation, not the security line thing,
Right.
right? Like sell the vacation. And when people go to your Google business profile, they are going there because they want to buy a house or they want to sell their house. And so when they go to your page, it would be great if they saw houses.
Houses.
Like that's what they want to see. They want to see houses. And it's so,
Yeah.
I say that because it's so simple, but I
Yeah.
think we think it like they want us, like, I don't know what we think they want to see, but we
Mhm.
don't realize that people just want to see houses. Like they love houses.
They
If you're a
do.
travel agent,
Yeah.
if you're a travel agent, show me the beach in Hawaii, right? Because that's what I'm
100%.
aspiring for.
Mhm.
And if you're a real estate agent, show people the houses. So I like
Yeah,
that.
and
Look, you've given us a lot of good stuff. Do you what else do you have? What other little tidbits do you have? What other secrets can I pull from you about Google?
it's all about consistency. It's not a one and done, right? If you want to experience any level of success, you've got to be consistent with it. I use a scheduling platform to keep up with my updates to make sure I'm getting my 8 to 10 out there a day. With each update, I include a minimum of one photo. And it's not some dark, grainy photo. It's a beautiful photo from a model home because people like to look at photos. Photos on a Google business profile get 42% more direction requests and it's like 35 more percent more clicks over to your website. People like to look at photos. So if you include a high quality photo with every update or post that you do, and you start building those photos up, you can add photos just to add photos. I love to take my reviews, take them into Canva, build a pretty image because I will capitalize on that one review. I'll take it, upload that camera image as a picture, and then I'll go into the update section and hey, check out my latest review from a happy client. I copy their review into the body of that description. I include that Canva image because I want to double dip on every opportunity I can with those keywords, right? I think that's like one of my favorite things to do. I could geek out all day long. My new thing is I've started blogging on my website because blogging on your website helps to indirectly build those search results on your profile. But then now you can take some of your blog content, post it as part of an update, and then lead them back to your website again. Same thing.
Yep.
Always want to lead them back to your website so you can lead capture.
So I've got a question.
Yes.
Who is doing all this posting? Because you
So,
post so much on there. Like, there's got to be a secret.
so once a month, I use ChatGPT to create an ideal client profile. I ask it a bunch of questions based on my target audience, and then I create an insane amount of content from there.
Yes.
I save it all into a Word document and then I save all my photos I want to use. I've found my favorite builders that let us borrow photos and I take
Yep.
their beautiful photos of their model homes and I save them into a folder in Dropbox. And so between myself and my assistant, we'll sit down and we'll schedule. We try to stay 2 to 3 weeks ahead with scheduling in advance. I use Loomly. I love Loomly because it allows me to do all the things I'm kind of crazy about formatting and I want to format it in a certain way and use my call to actions and Loomly gives me everything that I need.
Does that post things for you?
Yep. So I go in and I take my content that I've built out already. Like I build a whole posting schedule. Like I want to go in there and start posting on odd times now, but I have a posting schedule. So I just click next time slot, get there. I want it to go to my Google business profile, copy and paste my content, upload my photo. Then I click next, go back or read it and it looks good. And then I click on my call to action. If it's most of them are call now, but if it's going to link to maybe a landing page, I'll hit learn more and then be able to put in my link there. Loomly will tell me, oh, it gives you some feedback on engagement, add
Yeah.
copy, like, oh, you're lacking engagement, put an exclamation point somewhere. And then I just schedule. I sat down for maybe 3 to 4 hours, like sometimes on a weekend if I could board. I could schedule a whole month out in advance.
And I'm on Tammy's Google right now. Tammy, I'm stalking you. And everything that she just talked about, she is executing on her Google page. I talk all the time about great ideas that I don't do. Tammy is executing all of these. And here's the deal. When she says she posts a lot of updates, she's not kidding. She posts a ton of updates. Literally 10 minutes ago, there's an update. An hour ago, there's an update. So she's batching out a lot of content, which is probably why it's working so well for her. So I love looking at your page here because, yeah, you are doing all of the things. And you know, when I look at your reviews, a lot of the stuff you're talking about too, I see people kind of making the review. It's not obvious, but now that you say it, I notice
Mhm,
it. So,
mhm.
are you doing anything when you ask your clients for a review to maybe get them to write it a certain way?
So, quite possibly.
Quite possibly. Oh,
So,
the term we throw around all the time is allegedly. Like I'll,
right.
yeah, but
So,
yeah,
if you were a lot like my other clients and struggle with what to say, some of the things that you could mention is what I helped you with. Did I help you buy or sell a home? Was it in San Antonio, Converse, shirt, Cibolo? Was there something that I did that really stood out for you? What do you think about my knowledge and expertise? We're
Yeah,
prompting them a little bit, right?
I love
The,
that.
the,
I love that. No,
and
that's brilliant.
on reviews, I'm gonna give you a really good tip.
Yeah,
Google provides us this review link, right? And all we like to send out that review link and then wonder why our reviews are getting suppressed. So Google knows when someone clicks on that link that you've sent that link to them, right?
yeah,
So when you find your own profile on search, go up to that search bar, copy everything in that search bar, drop that into a short link creator, and send that link out to get reviews. Because when someone clicks on that link, Google thinks they went and searched for your profile
yeah.
to be able to provide you a review. And there's less instance of those being suppressed.
That one little tidbit worth the price of admission. I like it. All right, so look, we're gonna get on Google. We're gonna do all the things. We're gonna do everything that you talked about today. We're possibly going to stalk your social media accounts to see if we can get any more stuff. But you also do have a course where you've
I
packaged
do.
up a lot of this stuff in detail. And honestly, I don't know if Tammy feels awkward because we did not talk about me talking about the course or anything else before I came on. But like, where's the best place for people to find that? Because I know you go into a ton of detail when you do that.
The best place for them to find it, honestly, the link in my profile on Instagram at Tammy Sells San Antonio. Anyway, so I have
Listen, if you want the course, DM Tammy, connect with her, shoot her a DM, and I'm sure you can get in the link that way, right?
I can absolutely get them the link. Yep.
Yeah, and she's just like, I love talking about this stuff. I love being high level, but at the end of the day, if you're anything like me, you're gonna still, even after getting the detail, not know where to start. And
Right.
sometimes buying a course just cuts out a lot of the time. So
Yep.
that's awesome. We're coming up on time here. So if you had anything to leave the audience with, what would it be?
Stop letting your profile collect cobwebs. Get out there and start with baby steps. Everything I talked about today, if they try to go in and start doing everything, if they're anything like me, they will get overwhelmed and then say, never mind. Start with one thing, making sure your profile is complete and accurate. And then start with adding photos or start with adding updates. And when you get comfortable with that, incorporate something else. It doesn't need to be, I'm going to go and do it all at once and then get so frustrated because you can't figure it out. Start with baby steps.
One step at a time. I
How do
love
you
it.
eat an
Tammy,
elephant?
I'm
One
on a
bite at
diet,
a time.
okay? I'm on a diet. I'm not eating any elephant. All right. So, but I appreciate you. It's a Wednesday night and you came on to help give some value here. And we really appreciate you. So thank you so much for being on. And I'm going to see you around. I'm going to see you around. Am I going to
I
see you in
don't even
Houston or
see you. I don't see you until we're out of town. We live in the
That's right.
same city, and I never see you unless we go out of town.
Well, we always see each other at events that aren't in our city. So yeah, it's always fun. So thanks for coming on. All right,
Thanks for
everybody.
having me.
We'll see you on the next episode.